Since I was young, I have loved football. Brought up as a Spurs fan. Literally just messing around with football all the time, whether that be playing in the garden, playing with mates, random games used to make up with match attacks or playing FIFA. It was football a lot of the time, and that's a very similar story for most kids. However, also when I was younger, cricket was also my big sport, and in fact that was the one I decided to dedicate my time to and try to go pro in. I played club football up to the age of about 7 or 8, and then it was just cricket on from then. And with cricket, I wanted to play age group for Southern Kent. I had 2 Kent cricket trials, so at the professional youth age group level. I hit 100 in a men's game when I was 14, and to be honest, it was going to be tough, but I was always looking to go into the pro game. However, at the age of about 15, 16, I started to fall out of love with the sport. And that is quite a common theme for a lot of kids who want to try and go pro in whatever sport they're doing. I still try and play club cricket, but it's not got the same seriousness to it, if that makes sense. However, despite all this cricket, I still used to play football at break time with my mates, and I was definitely the worst one. But at the age of 15, in the COVID time, I decided, I'm going to start training football. I enjoy playing football, so I'm going to start training and just take it a little bit more seriously, see if I can improve my game. And this was mainly just so I could be better at break time and not to be taken the piss out by my mates so much, to be honest. And to be honest, I was very lucky to have lots of space living in the country to train all this football in the time of COVID. Obviously, we couldn't go elsewhere. By doing this all the time, I was just able to improve my game leaps and bounds. And this wasn't the idea of a long-term goal in mind. It was just trying to get better at the sport. The fact I enjoyed playing it also was a big factor. And when we got back to school, I had definitely improved a lot of football. But also one of the big things is I got a lot quicker. I was always pretty slow, and then suddenly I'd improved my pace, which is something I'd worked on. And going back to school and, still messing around at break time, but, scoring a few more goals and actually starting to be recognised as a decent player, it got me thinking about joining a football club. So in the 2020-21 season, or late into the season, I actually found a club at under 16 level called Bidenden. So I played my first 11-side game of football when I was 16. I scored in a game. It was a cup game. I remember it. And I ended up playing about 6 games for the rest of that season. Of course, I joined late into the season. And we also won the cup that year, although I wasn't allowed to play in the final as I hadn't played enough league games. Of course, I joined late into the season, so it was just a good taste of club football. Not a high level, it's just your typical, grassroots Saturday youth league football. Although for our age group, we were one of the better teams in the area. 2021-22 season now, and I trained a lot in the pre-season and the summer. I trained a lot. And obviously I was returning to the Bidenden team as an under-18 now, into the under-18 team, which was exactly the same team. We had pre-season and I scored 7 goals in 3 games, so that was a pretty good start. And quite a few players at this Bidenden team were also playing in Sunday League football, which is like the youth version of semi-pro football. They were playing with a team called Ashford United, so I wanted and trialled with the under-18s of Ashford United, and I got in through the trial. It was just go and train with the team. So this meant that this season, the 2021-22 season, I was now playing on a Saturday and a Sunday. And the Sunday was for Ashford United in the Kent Youth League Premier League, which is the youth version of semi-pro football, if that makes sense. I ended with a decent season for Bidenden, the team I played for on Saturday. I scored 12 goals in 18 games. But for Ashford, it was a lot more tough. I spent most of my time coming off the bench. I did struggle there a little bit, to be honest, and I scored 1 goal in 11 games. So you can see not quite as good of a score. However, I did get some good experience as I did train with the first team twice. Most of us did train with the first team. And yeah, that was quite a good experience to take through. Ashford United are a step 4 non-league team. It was also cool to play at some of the semi-pro grounds around here, such as Folkestone, Winchelsea, Faversham, Sevenoaks. And Ashford, of course. But for Ashford, we ended up finishing bottom of the table. Sadly, we did struggle to compete in that league. But with Bidenden, we actually won the cup again, and I did play in the final, which was held at Hive FC, if you know them. And yeah, it was a decent season for Bidenden, not so great for Ashford. Going into the 2022-23 season, this was now year 13 for me, so A-levels were important, so I decided to only play for one team. There had been a bit of change around at Ashford United. There was a new management coming through the old under-16s, which would be the new under-18s, so I was offered to play for them. However, I decided to stick at Bidenden, and I'm glad I made that choice, as you'll see. At Bidenden, we wanted to have a great season, and I had a really good season. I scored 17 goals with 8 assists in 15 games. Of course, that's my best season yet, and I also scored 5 goals in 1 game, just saying. We won the league on the last game of the season. It was a really quite a tough game. We only won 3-2. We were 2-1 down at one point. I got on a goal and assist. But yeah, really, really good moment. Sadly, we didn't do so well in the cup, but winning the league is what the team had deserved. The coaches have put a lot into the team, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and of course, all of this is volunteering work. I couldn't have really chosen a better football club to start playing at. But of course, that was under 18, so you know, after under 18s, you go into men's football, or whatever I'm playing now, and it's completely different. You need to find new teams, new this, new everything. So where was I going next? Well, I didn't really know, so I was training by myself throughout the summer again and pre-season because I didn't get my A-level results until August, so I didn't know which uni I was going to. However, in August I got the results and I'm now at Loughborough Uni, and before going to Loughborough Uni I set my sights on trying to get into one of the Loughborough University football teams. They have a first team all the way to the 6th team. And with all those teams you think it'd be quite easy, but let me tell you it's not. I didn't realise quite how hard it would be to play for the university. So obviously everybody signs up for trials. There's a lot of people going to trials, and we all had our separate briefing meetings. There's about 25 different meetings. It was a lot of people. And I sat down in the briefing, and the guy to the right of me had played at Forest, and the guy to the left of me had played at Fulham. And I thought, well, this is going to be tough. And it got even tougher when the person said that there's only 25 spaces up for grabs out of all 6 teams, because all 6 teams have already played with each other in pre-season, and their teams are pretty much set. So out of 750 trialists, only 25 spaces. Anyway, of course, I still did the trials anyway, and I got through the first set of trials and I got invited to callbacks. The callbacks included 150, so I got to the last 150 out of 750, which I'm pretty proud of. In the callbacks, I scored in the little trial match we do, and as much as I didn't really do much else apart from scoring, I guess there was a chance. However, in the end, I wasn't picked. But a good thing about Loughborough Uni and many other universities that are competitive in sport is they do halls football. They know there's so many players who would love to play for the university like myself, but didn't make it, so halls football's a chance to still play competitive football. There's 16 halls at the uni, and there's a first team league and a second team league. Obviously, I tried for my halls. That was still competitive in itself. About 30 spaces out of 70, I believe. However, I got in and I'm now playing for the second team in my halls, although we are technically better than the first team because we beat them in training and we're doing better in our league than them, much better. Before I tell you how my season so far is going with the second team, I was actually invited to what they call the Halls Masterclass or IMS Masterclass. It's actually a continued trials process for the university, so it was quite cool to be part of this, and there was about 80 to 90 of us. So technically I got to the last 80 or 90 trialists out of the 750, which, to be honest, if I'd been told that before trialling, I would have been super, super happy with that. Although my start for this season playing for my second team in the halls has not been great. I've been playing mainly as a winger and a striker as I usually do, but I've only got 1 assist in 6 games. That's 2 games I haven't been selected for, and of those 6 games, I've only started 2. We're second in the league and we're still in the cup, and if you get to the final of the cup, you get to play at the Loughborough University Stadium. By the way, the first team of Loughborough play in the semi-pro leagues. And that's where I am now, so not too happy with how my season's going so far, but we've had a bit of a winter break and I've been training hard and I'm trying to get my numbers up. And that's where the focus of this video comes along. Obviously, you've seen all my clips from when I've been doing well in the past few seasons, but I'd say this is the first little challenge or boundary I've had in my football career, if you really want to call it a career. So this season, what are the goals for me this season? First of all, I want to get a goal. In the next few games, I want to get a goal. I've had a good few chances this season. Some I should have finished, some I've been unlucky with, but at this point I would have expected myself to have a decent amount of goals, and when I get back I just want to score a goal. Second of all, this season, obviously, as you've heard, there's 2 games I haven't been selected for. Most of the games I'm coming off the bench. I want to start and get more minutes, hopefully. Start to prove myself a bit more in training, have a bit more confidence, and get my minutes, get more minutes. And third of all, this season, I want to win the league and the cup. We're a really, really strong team. As I say, in training, we usually beat our first team. So compared to the second teams around us, we can definitely win the league and the cup. And it would also be really cool to like the Loughborough University Stadium. So that's my goals for this season. What about my career goals? Seeing as it's the first episode of this series, I should really let you know about my career goals and what I want to do with football. And I have three main clear goals in my head, and two of them kind of go hand in hand. The first one is I want to play in the FA Cup, and the second one is I want to play semi-pro football, so you can see how those two kind of join together. I don't care if it's in the extra preliminary round, you know, the second qualifying round, or the genuine first round of the FA Cup. I just want to play and hopefully at some point score in the FA Cup. I feel like that would be really cool, seeing as I didn't actually play a first 11-a-side game of football until the age of 16. To play in the FA Cup, that would be really, really cool. And semi-pro football is the same sort of idea, whether that's step 6 or step 3. I just want to play a bit of semi-pro football. Of course, the higher level I can get, the better. And joint onto this is I would also like to play semi-pro football in England, of course, but I'd also love to play semi-pro football in Europe and abroad. As you know from my YouTube channel, I'm highly into languages and travelling, and to mix languages, travelling and football all into one would be like a dream come true. So, you know, to play some semi-pro football in Germany, or, you know, Netherlands, or Spain, or Italy, or, you know, in the Balkans, I don't care. It would just be a really cool experience. And as much as these goals may seem difficult, especially with the fact that I didn't make it into the university squads this year, and I'm not doing too well this season, even at the level of halls football, you know, it might seem that the idea of semi-pro football in UK, let alone in Europe, is a bit unrealistic. I believe I can attain it because the way I've improved in the last few seasons, it's been pretty quick. You know, I've come into the game, you know, the 11-a-side game late, so. Now, as much as I've played throughout my whole life at school, that's not the same as playing club football or halls football. And I should also let you know about my strengths and weaknesses. Of course, as you've probably worked out, I'm mainly a striker and can also play winger, sometimes right wing back, very rarely. Don't put me there for the defensive reasons. But the strengths of my game, I would say, are pace, fitness and shooting. Of course, those two of them aren't actually technical ability with football, which makes sense because I haven't played competitive football for that long. And my weaknesses, I would say, are ball control, experience and weak foot, although my weak foot has improved drastically since I began. I couldn't even shoot with it when I first started playing club football. Now I can at least shoot with it, and of course passing's a bit better, but it's still got a lot of catching up to do with the right foot. And ball control, you know, I'll keep doing drills around ball control. It's a very important skill, obviously, as you get higher and higher level. If you can't control the ball, you're in a lot of trouble. And experience, you know, I think out of my whole life I played about 50 games of football, so, you know, more and more experience is going to be needed before I hit the higher levels. So this series, Diary of an Average Footballer, is just going to come out every now and then, and it is just going to be a documentary of me trying to achieve my goal of playing in the FA Cup and playing football, semi-pro football in UK and abroad. I see a lot of the stuff in YouTube is very much to do with the pro game, and there's so many people who aspire to play in the pro game, I understand that, but there's also many who just aspire to play the highest level that they can. They may not be looking to go pro, they may just be looking to, you know, just test themselves with football and see how far they can go. And that's what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm being realistic with the fact it's very, 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 very unlikely I'm going to make it pro. It's not what I have in mind at all. I'm focused on semi-pro. You know, if I can get there, then I'll be incredibly happy with that achievement. As much as this first episode's been about just all of my career, the next few episodes will just be kind of keeping you guys updated with how I'm getting on, the drills I'm doing, the focus I've kind of got. If any of you watching this video have any sort of experience that you want to share with football, any aspirations of your own, any tips or advice you have for me or others, please have conversations in the comments, because the game is based a lot on experience, and it's also based a lot on networking. And, you know, if you guys can find each other in the comments, help each other out with the progression of your game in football, then that's a fantastic thing. Also, I've got a new editing software, so hopefully the quality of the video will actually be better this time. The last few videos have been a bit, you know, the sound's been a tiny bit muffly. You know, sometimes the video goes a bit pixely. So I'm hoping the quality of the video is actually good now. If you're new to the channel, then please show some support and subscribe. It's all to do with self-improvement, football, languages, travelling. It's all these things kind of mixed into one. If you're interested in any of these, then please subscribe. I've also written 2 ebooks which you can find for free by signing up to my newsletter. That will be in the description as well. I'll also be putting up all sorts of updates about all these sorts of things, whether it's languages, football, whatever, in my Instagram, so you can follow that in the description as well. Thank you all for watching. I hope you found it interesting. The Diary of an Average Footballer. Even to say average is a bit of a push, to be fair. And I'll see you guys next week. See ya.